Welcome to Conversations Different, the podcast from the Santa Fe New Mexican, focusing on interesting people, places, and issues of northern New Mexico. This is Inez Russell Gomez, and today I am talking to John Tiranno, Artistic Director of the Zia Singers. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Inez. Nice to be here with you.
First of all, let's tell people what the Zia Singers are and what they do.
Sure. So we are an all-women's choral ensemble that's based here in Santa Fe. We have been around for 31 years, if I'm not mistaken. This is my first year as artistic director, so some of the details of the history are not as fresh in my mind. But we have been around, as like I said, 31 years as far as I know, and we do 2 weekends of concerts. At the moment, it's 2 weekends of concerts per year, where we perform a variety of repertoire. The first concert of the year usually is in January, and that's more of a classical nature of the music. And then the spring concert, end of May, early June, which is a lighter repertoire, and that's the concert we're honing in on now.
Right, and you're going to be doing Broadway tunes, I see.
Indeed, yes. So this concert is called June is Bustin' Out All Over, and it is a collection of beloved songs from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s musical theater repertoire. So we have South Pacific and Carousel and Oklahoma, West Side Story, just to name a few of the musicals that are represented.
Oh, nice. So that's a lot of songs that people will remember and like a lot.
I think, just about everyone is recognizable, and I didn't have to explain any of them to the group. They all knew the repertoire.
Nice. Yeah. One of the things I read on your website is that your group wants to educate people about choral music. And I was thinking now, with so many people we listen to streaming or even going back to record players or any of those things, people quit singing themselves as much. So this is kind of a return to a way when we entertained each other in our homes.
Yeah. Like I said, the group's been around a while, but it's growing in size. This year we're at about 50 singers at the moment, and it ebbs and flows. Each concert, we have singers who are unable to join us, either traveling or issues with their health or spouses or something. But at the moment we're just under 50, and I think the more the merrier. The more singers we can have, the more we can do with their voices, and educate them. I like to think that maybe I'm educating them a little bit every rehearsal, as giving them some good vocal techniques and ways to sing. As a classical singer, opera singer myself, that's something that I feel comfortable with, and then of course educating the public when we perform, introducing them, maybe not so much in this concert, introducing them to new music. This is music most people should know, but I bet there'll be some people who will come that probably haven't heard of Damn Yankees or maybe there's a song by Cole Porter that doesn't have it's not from a musical, but the opening song of our concert actually is called Another Opening, Another Show, and it's, as far as I know, not from a musical, but it's just written by the famous composer, and so hopefully we'll educate the audience in that regard, and when we do some different music, last concert actually it was a New Mexico premiere, I'm certain, of a mass, a Christian mass written by a Swedish composer. Now the music was written in Latin, a little more digestible than in Swedish for the singers, but it was a new piece that was written only about 10 years ago by a man named Martin Janssen, and I'm sure that was new listening for most people. And so we do look to educate our concert goers and our singers alike.
That makes going to a concert kind of an adventure, because you don't know exactly what you're going to get, and you leave maybe wanting to hear new things and try new things.
I hope so, yeah.
Going back to the origins of choral music, it's one of the oldest forms, but again, we've gone to like pop stars and maybe rock bands and those kinds of things. Why do you think choral music is still hanging on, given the changing tastes?
Well, it feels good to sing in a choir. I am involved with a variety of choirs in my life. Outside of the Zia Singers, I teach middle school choir at the Gonzalez Community School here in Santa Fe, and I have a couple different choir classes, and one in particular is filled with 26 middle schoolers who just love to sing. And sure, they don't they had not heard of a lot of the music or the style of music that we do, the more classical music. They're not super educated in that prior to coming to my class.
That's why you go to school.
Yeah, that's why you go to school. Exactly. And we do a wide array of music. In fact, we're preparing for a concert this week that we lovingly call Lobo-Cella. The Lobos are our mascot, and we've coined the phrase Lobo-Cella. And in this concert, I let the kids pick pop music that they like, and so I leave it up to them. And so we're singing pieces by Bruno Mars, and we're singing pieces by Benson Boone, pop singers of the day. And, they tend to open up a little bit more in that respect. And I like to do things like this because I think it allows the singers, no matter who they are, to understand, hey, the singing doesn't have to be in a foreign language, and it doesn't have to be difficult or sad or slow. I mean, they feel really good when they sing that music, and therefore it helps them sing the other repertoire. And I think that's the same thing with my Zia Singers. They like to sing. They like to be together. It is also a little bit of a social group. They get together outside of rehearsals and concerts for lunches. We do a quarterly cabaret once a quarter, where people are allowed to come in and bring any sort of performance piece they want. It could be a song, it could be a poem, it could be a dance, and they perform for each other, and it's very casual, and there's lots of food and drink, and so it's it's an enjoyable time. And I think that is again why people like to sing. They feels good to make music and to harmonize and to be together. And so I think that's why it's persevered for so long.
Well, there's a loneliness epidemic in the United States that the Surgeon General had even said is, a health risk for everybody. And it seems like groups like this can help get rid of it because you are coming together. You've got rehearsals, you've got cabarets, as you discussed, and you make friends.
Yeah, no, it's a great group. I mean, not everybody hangs out with everybody, of course. I mean, you get a group of 50 people together. There are a lot of retirees at this point, but they're all lots of very successful people in this group, and they like to spend time with each other, and they meet new people and make new friends. And some of the singers sing in other groups around town. So there's singers that are in 2-3 choirs. It's contagious.
Oh, that sounds good. We'll take a quick break and be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
If you're considering going solar but aren't sure who to speak with for accurate information, avoid the high-pressure sales and receive a hassle-free experience. Contact Positive Energy Solar today. Positive Energy is your local, trusted, and employee-owned solar experts that have been helping New Mexicans live more sustainably since 1997. Go solar with confidence. Schedule your free, no-obligation solar evaluation at positiveenergysolar.com.
Generate positive energy. Positive Energy Solar.
We are back with Conversations Different, discussing the Zia Singers with its artistic director, John Tiranno. Is it harder to deal with grown women or middle school students in terms of directing them? I just want to compare the two.
Oh, boy, that's a tough question. I'm wondering who's going to listen to this more, and then I'll make my answer depending on who I think is going to hear this. They each have their challenges. Middle schoolers are a little more moldable. If they like you, they'll follow you, and they'll do what you want them to do. I think that applies to adults as well. But, our Zia Singers, a couple of them have been in the group since it started. And many of them have been in other choirs and have been singing for a long time. Occasionally they come in with an attitude thinking that they know how it goes and this is what we're going to do. And they had a wonderful director for the previous 9 years. And they did things a certain way with him. And, we're doing some things a little differently, and change could be hard. So I don't know. I get to grade the middle schoolers. They have to sort of work for a grade. The adults, I don't really can't hold that over them. So I'll go middle schoolers just by a smidge.
That makes sense. And how does one become a Zia singer? I assume you try out, or you.
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. So we hold auditions a couple times a year. Although if for some reason a singer was unable to attend an audition that was set, you can reach out to us, and I'd be happy to try and create another time. But essentially, we have auditions. They're they're called pain-free auditions or painless auditions. We ensure that, and essentially all the information you might need is on our website, which is theziasingers.com. We will not have another group audition until sometime in August. We'll prepare for the next set of concerts next January. We take the summer off, July and August, or June and July, and into August, and then we resume. And so that's how you do it. You just go to our website, and there should be information on there. But you can always just check us out there.
All right, that makes sense. And it seems like you have a wide range of ages. It's not just retired people or young people. It said on the website 20 to 80s.
Yeah, that's generally the low and the high, age range. Most of the singers are 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're, as I mentioned, a lot of retired people. Not all. Mm-hmm. We have some very hardworking women that are still working. But it's mostly adults of that age. I'm always looking for new singers, and of course looking for young singers. We're in the talks right now. The board of directors and I are talking about trying to set up some sort of scholarship fund for some younger singers, maybe some high school singers or college singers to come and join the choir, augment the group, bring a little bit of youth into the sound of the group, and also give them some experience what it's like to sing. We're not a professional ensemble, but I run it like one, that's for sure. And I expect and have, the expectations I have are very high for everyone. We bring in, professional musicians, both instrumentalists and vocalists to augment the concerts. This particular concert we have coming up, we always have a very wonderful collaborative pianist, Deborah Wagner. She's been with the group for a long time, and she's our accompanist. So she's there with us, but we're also bringing in a string bass player, a saxophonist, and a percussionist for this concert, along with a vocal soloist. Her name is Rochelle Elbert, and she's a local. She lives here in Santa Fe, and a fabulous singer and actress. Recently, she was in a production of Little Women put on by the Tri-M Productions, and she played the role of Jo. And I didn't see it, unfortunately, but everyone who has is raving about her. So we're really excited, to have all these musicians with us. Last concert, we had 5 instrumentalists from the Santa Fe Symphony who played with us on this mass. We try to lift the expectations quite a bit high, and I think that would be going back to the ages. I'd love to get some younger people involved that would give them a chance to actually put to work what they're learning in high school choir or college choir, put it into some real life experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one of the things about Tri-M is that it's full of young people. That was kind of the purpose.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
actually, speaking of Tri-M, Marilyn Barnes, who is the co-founder of Tri-M, is the founder of the Zia Singers.
That's right.
It all kind of connects back to Marilyn.
Yeah, I always say Santa Fe is a very, very small town, and it's always good to remember that when you're discussing anything, really.
For sure.
I like the idea of youth and age together, because one of the things in society was we get so segmented. So again, you've got a choir as a way to reach across different groups of people and to form relationships and to do something excellent, because you're talking about you're singing for fun, but you also want it to be very good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my I think it's a positive, part of myself is that I hold myself and the others around me to a high standard, and, I did get a little pushback at the start of my tenure with the Zias from a few of the singers who said, oh, well, this is in Latin and I don't know that I can sing Latin, or I don't read music. And I said, it's okay. Plenty of people in the group don't read music. Plenty do. But, we have a long rehearsal time for me to work with the singers. We do have a weekly optional sectional rehearsal as well. Debbie, our pianist, holds a weekly, not every week, but most weeks, a rehearsal that is optional, but it's a chance for the singers to come in and learn their notes a little bit better, feel like they can get a little extra help. So yeah, we're going to, we're going to treat this like a professional ensemble and hope that the people who come to hear us feel the same way.
That must be a lot of fun for the people who do go and who are surprised. I think one of the things about Santa Fe is the quality of talent for non-professional groups is much deeper than you might get in a lot of cities.
Well, in my experience, I've lived here about 7 years now. Before that, I lived in New York City for a long time. What I can tell, there's people who come here. I haven't met too many people, I guess the kids at my school, but a lot of the adults that I meet aren't from Santa Fe. There are people who come here because it's so wonderful and enchanting and beautiful, and they retire here or they spend some time here at some point and always wanted to come back. So, a lot of the Zia Singers lived in other places, bigger cities, and had careers at other fields, of course, but sang in choirs in Chicago or New York or Washington, D.C. or other places where they lived. and then they come here with that experience and bring it to us, which is always great. So yeah, it's really wonderful.
All right. On that note, we'll take a quick break and be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
This is Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. Looking to reach a wider audience and grow your business? For 175 years, the Santa Fe New Mexican has been the trusted voice of Santa Fe, with unmatched local reach in print and online. In addition to our long-standing, independent, family-owned newspaper, we have a full-fledged marketing team with the expertise to help you succeed in the 21st century. From traditional print to precision-targeted digital advertising, we have the tools to connect you with your ideal customers. Partner with us and see the results for yourself. Advertise with the Santa Fe New Mexican and unlock your business's full potential. Visit us at santafenewmexican.com/advertising or call us at 505-995-3852. Thank you.
We are back discussing the Zia Singers and their upcoming concert and basically the whole program of having women gather to sing choral music together. So you say you have a concert in June, and it will be when and where?
We have two concerts. It's the first full weekend of June, Saturday, June 7th, and Sunday, June the 8th. The Saturday concert is in the evening, 7 p.m., and the Sunday concert is in the afternoon, 3 p.m. And both concerts take place at Cristo Rey Church here in Santa Fe. That's 1107 Cristo Rey Street, up sort of near that tail end of Canyon Road. It's a beautiful church. This is our first year performing in there, and it's just a glorious room to sing in. Just the right size, not quite as big as the Cathedral Basilica, but bigger than a lot of the other spaces that we've sung in before, and makes the choir sound fantastic. So
yeah, it has good.
June 7th at 7 p.m., June 8th at 3 p.m. Tickets and all information is on our website, theziasingers.com.
Yeah, I've been to choral recitations at Cristo Rey, and it has great acoustics.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's nice. What do you do to get ready? So you rehearse weekly, monthly? How often do you rehearse? And you do the sectionals?
We rehearse weekly.
Okay.
We rehearse Tuesday afternoons. At the moment, it's 3:45 to 5:45 p.m. At Cristo Rey, which one of the nice things about being there is that we're also able to rehearse there, which gives the singers familiarity, of course, with the venue. We can, we tend to practice in sitting in the pews and standing in the pews, but once in a while we get up and we go onto the altar and stand where we're going to perform. It gives them a sense of, okay, here's where I'm going to be, and here's what I'm going to be seeing, and here's what it sounds like from this vantage point versus sitting in the pews when we rehearse. So we rehearse weekly. It's a 2-hour rehearsal. We also Zoom the rehearsals. So if, for instance, you are in the group and you have to travel for a couple of weeks, and you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can attend rehearsal on Zoom. It's not quite the same thing as being in person, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And we also do record. The Zoom is recorded so that you can go back afterwards and listen. And what was that one thing he said, or what was that note didn't sound right in our part. I'm going to go back and listen. So you can go back and review. So it's a weekly rehearsal, and then the optional sectional, and then the week of the concert we do have an extra dress rehearsal to get ready. And we're coming up on about 5 weeks, I think, until it's about 4 weeks, about a month from tomorrow, actually, the 7th. So
wow.
We're coming right up on it.
And think about all the stuff that's going on during May with graduations, religious things. I mean, This is just a crazy month.
It is, yeah, and one of the reasons we do a concert in January is to sort of avoid some of the craziness of December.
Okay.
Most choirs do holiday concerts, end of the year kind of concerts, which are wonderful, and I participate in lots of those around the country and in the city and wherever I am as a singer. But for us, it was nice to separate a little bit and give us a little more, give the stage to ourselves a little bit in January. In end of May, early June, we're going to have to deal with that. But there's a lot going on. But we're hoping we get a nice big crowd on both of those evenings, evening and then afternoon.
Do you find that women, when they come together, because you've sung in mixed choirs, and now, of course, you're directing a female choir, what's the difference in the kinds of music you might approach or the way you sing?
Well, There's a limited repertoire, right? Because we're cutting out all the tenors and basses from joining the group. So there's less music out there. Although there's plenty of music, and written for treble voices, high voices, and it requires the lower altos to be sort of the bases of the choir, the lowest sounds, and then the high sopranos continue to be the high sopranos, and everyone else kind of fills in. So the sounds can be a little bit more confined. There's not the vast range of having a low bass and a high soprano. We have a low alto, perhaps, and a high soprano. But there's beautiful music for treble voices. And, oftentimes music is arranged multiple ways. So you might have an SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass arrangement. And then you might also have an SSAA, only sopranos and altos, so that it's the same song, but the person who wrote it or arranges it, to fit the certain voices that they have, at their disposal.
So you can find music to suit your circumstances, basically.
Yeah.
And the
absolutely.
voices you have.
More than we can put on a concert, that's for sure. We are aiming to not extend the concerts too terribly long. This concert is scheduled to come in at about an hour and 5 minutes. I think it's a nice length of time. Doesn't overburden the singers nor the audience. I love music. It's my whole life. But I don't want to go to a 2.5 hour concert. There's lots of other things going on in my life and in the world, and I would like to come and attend a beautiful concert and then go about my day.
Yeah.
So that's what you'll get if you come to the Zia Singer concert.
I like that. Anything else you want people to know about your group and just about the efforts to let us all know more about choral music?
Yeah, well, I would just love for people to check us out on the website, theziasingers.com. As we mentioned already, we have auditions. Generally, it'll be sometime in August, but if I'm willing to hear people at other times if it works out. I'm hoping to announce our next concert, our next January concert, the repertoire at this June concert here, the June is Busting Out All Over concert. So I won't give any of it away now. Still putting the finishing touches on the program, but it's going to be another beautiful concert, a little more classical. Now we'll go back to that sort of repertoire. And it's a great group, and we're always looking to add to it. We work hard, but we also have a good time, and it's a lot of great music making in a beautiful place, in a beautiful city. And I'm just really happy to be the artistic director and be with these women.
All right. On that note, this has been another Conversations Different, and we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening to Conversations Different, hosted by me, Inez Russell Gomez, editorial page editor for the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our weekly episodes would not be possible without your support. We hope you enjoy them and keep listening. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Consider signing up for our newsletter so you never miss an episode, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our podcast is available by visiting our website, santafenewmexican.com/podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Conversations Different with Inez Russell Gomez is produced by Matt Dalside and Ernesto Cisneros, published by the Santa Fe New Mexican, a local and independent newspaper owned by Robin Martin.